شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر.
Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome once again inshallah to our series for this year Ramadan, the virtues of the Quran. In this series inshallah we wish to inspire ourselves and yourself with knowing the various virtues Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned with regards to the Quran and His people, so that we strive to become from amongst them. Ameen. In the next hadith, inshallah, we look at the effect of the Quran and the impact of the Quran on our souls. In the hadith reported by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah Azza wa Jal be pleased with him, that he said, قال لي نبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اقرأ علي. That the Prophet told Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, اقرأ علي, read to me, O Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud then said, قلت يا رسول الله أقرأ عليك وعليك أنزل. How can I recite to you when the Quran came down to you? The Prophet then said, نعم فقرأت سورة النساء حتى أتيت إلى هذه الآية فكيف إذا جئنا من كل أمة بشهيد وجئنا بك على هؤلاء شهيدا. And so he continued reciting up until he reached the verse. And how will it be, O Messenger, when we bring you as a witness over every nation, and we bring you as a witness over everyone? When the Prophet heard these words, he said, Hasbuka. He said, sufficient, O Ibn Mas'ud. Ibn Mas'ud then said, I then turned to the Prophet فَإِذَا عَيْنَاهُ تَضْرِفَانِ. He said, I then looked at the Prophet and his eyes were filled up with tears. And this narration is found in Bukhari. And so in this hadith we see the tremendous effect that the Quran has upon the souls. And this effect, it is known by experience. That at times you find a social experiment that people, they play music for an individual, and then thereafter they play the Quran. Not saying we agree with this. And then they would ask them the following question: which one had a greater impact on your soul? And they would say the Quran. And this is for non-Muslims who have no connection with the Quran. We find at times as well that Muslims who don't understand or don't have understanding of the Arabic language, they are affected and they are moved by the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how much more when we actually make effort to understand the book of Allah in the language it was revealed, how more profound will the effect be upon our souls? And so the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith, he teaches us the permissibility of listening to the Quran from someone other than ourselves, meaning requesting someone to recite the Quran to us. And this truly is from the good practices of the Salaf. And of course all of the practice of the Salaf is good. But the Salaf's understanding of majalis al-dhikr, the understanding of the circles of remembrance, is not as we find today, where people shout certain chants and do dhikr in unison. Rather, the circles of remembrance in the time of the Sahaba, it was that they would request one companion to recite and others would listen attentively. And this is the correct etiquette with the Quran. For Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. When the Quran is being recited, then listen attentively and remain silent so that you may attain mercy. And so from amongst the great ways of attaining Allah Azza wa Jal's mercy is listening to the Quran. So the benefits from this hadith is many. And it is advisable to find solace with the Quran by diversifying between recitation and listening. Meaning at times we recite, and this is virtuous, and at other times when we become tired, we listen to the Quran. But we listen attentively. Sometimes some young learners have this habit of saying that I listen to the Quran while studying. This is not the correct etiquette with the Quran. We should be busy with no other task other than listening to the Quran attentively whilst it is playing. So how do we implement this hadith and bring it to life within ourselves? It is firstly to check our hearts when the Quran is being recited. What is the state of your heart? Does the Quran have an effect upon my soul when it is merely recited? And this is from the guidance of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, when he said, search for your heart in 3 instances. The first is in the circles of remembrance, where the Quran is being recited. Second, he said, in the sima'il Quran, when the Quran is heard, what is the state of your heart? And finally, he said, fi awqatil khalwa, in instances where we find ourselves secluded, one-on-one with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said that if you do not find your heart in these instances, then ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bestow upon you a heart, for you have no heart. And so we know that different recitations have different effects upon our souls. And of course, the older Qur'an, because of the sincerity and Allah Azza wa Jal honoring them, we find that they have a greater effect when we listen to them. And the list is too long to mention. So choose a recitation that affects your heart when you listen to it and you listen to the Quran deeply. Because surely the Quran should have an effect upon our souls. If the Quran had the ability to cause the mountains to be submissive and to crumble due to its burden, then surely this Quran should have an impact on the souls. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us amongst those who listen to the Quran attentively, and that this Quran, it has an effect upon our soul and it affects us, inshallah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. نكتفي بهذا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام